Hey everybody, how you doing? Superfiend here, and welcome to Blender Basics, where I'm going to try to teach you enough about Blender to start making your own custom models and creations. This video is an introduction to Blender and its user interface. When you start Blender, you'll see the Blender splash screen showing you which version you're running and any recent blend files you may have worked on. Go ahead and left click to close that, and you'll go to the default Blender screen. This is the screen layout you're going to see every time you start Blender, unless you make changes to the Blender startup file. Every screen in Blender is divided into multiple areas. Starting at midnight and moving clockwise, we have at the top of the screen an information area, we have an outliner, a property editor, a timeline, and most prominent on the screen is our 3D view. You can resize areas by moving your mouse cursor over their shared border and clicking and dragging. Every area within Blender has a horizontal header bar, which will be positioned either at the bottom or the top of the area. The information, 3D view, and timeline areas all have their header bar at the bottom of the area. However, in the outliner and the properties, the header bar is at the top of the area. In the case of the outliner, the header bar is long and disappears off the screen. You can hover your mouse cursor over the header bar and scroll up or down to slide it along. If you want to reposition where the header bar is within its area, right click on any free space and choose flip to bottom or flip to top, or you can right click elsewhere and look for the header submenu and choose flip to bottom or flip to top, and this will work in any of the areas. Headers can also be hidden within their areas. If the header is at the bottom of the area, move your mouse cursor along the top of the header, click and drag down, and it will disappear. If the header is at the top of the area, move your mouse cursor along the bottom of the header and click and drag up. You'll notice now that each area where I've hidden the header is now a little tiny plus. If you wish to have the header reappear, simply click on the plus and the header will come back. The final note about header bars in an area is each header bar has a button on the left that can be used to change the content of the area. I'm going to go ahead and change each of my areas into a 3D view, and you'll note that the outliner and properties header bars are at the top, but on changing them to the 3D view, the new area will have their header bars along the bottom, which is where the 3D view likes them. I've restarted Blender to restore the default screen layout, and now I'll show you how to further customize the user interface by splitting and joining areas. At the bottom left and top right of every area in Blender, you'll find Area Split and Join widgets. If you click and drag on one of those, you can create a brand new area that is an exact replica of the starting area. And you can do this as many times as you'd like within Blender, and you can even go to the header bar and change what is currently active in that area. If you wish to collapse areas, you simply click on the same widget of a starting area and drag it over the area you wish to collapse, and you'll see that we get a slightly gray overlay with a light gray arrow, and release your mouse button and they will replace each other. It's important to note that when you collapse areas, they must be the same size in the axes that you're wishing to collapse. For example, both of these areas are about half as wide as this area up top. Therefore, we cannot take either of these areas and collapse the area on top. The user interface simply doesn't know how that would work. And even though both of these areas together are as wide as the single area on top, we cannot take that area on top and collapse both of the areas below. In order to make this the prominent area, we would first have to collapse both of these so that this bottom area combined is the same width as this area, and then we could click and drag down and restore this to the original layout. Some areas in Blender can have side panels. Side panels will appear on either the left or the right of the area. They can be resized by clicking and dragging, and if you happen to collapse them, just like with the header bars, a plus will appear indicating that there is a side panel that can be opened. The 3D view has two possible side panels, one on each side. If we were to go ahead and split this view into two 3D views, each of the 3D views or each of the 3D areas will have the exact same side panels. However, changing the panels in one does not affect the other. Individual panels can be expanded or collapsed by clicking on the title. And if you wish to change their orientation, you can click and drag the top right positioner widget and move the panel into a new position. You can also right click and pin the panel, such as I've done with the transform panel, and now when we switch tabs, we'll see that transform remains visible. However, it is possible, as it did here, that it changes position, and we can put it back at the top. If we wish it to go away, we can turn off the pin, and it's only visible here in the top tab like it was previously. The last thing I want to show you in this video is that any two areas in Blender can easily be swapped. Go over to your source area and hover the mouse button over the Area Split Join widget. Hold down the Control key, click and drag to the destination area, and let go of the mouse button, and the two areas will be swapped. They don't need to be the same size or even next to each other in the interface to use this feature. That's going to do it for this Blender Basics video. I hope you found it useful. Please leave a comment or a thumbs up if you did, and I hope so much to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.